good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Through the Looking Glass, creating AR stories for the future. This will be a pretty lively session, so I'll go ahead and pass it right on to our presenters.
Thank you, Sabrina. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see you now later in the week, after a week of camp. I hope you're all happy campers and have good time. And so now that we've come to this point of camp and you've seen quite a bit and have experienced quite a bit, and perhaps it's time to send that postcard home. And so what we'll do in this session is actually share with you a very simple way to augment a postcard with augmented reality, make a message, and share it home. My name is Maya Georgieva, and I am one of the innovators at residence at Shaping EDU, and I will facilitate this arts and crafts storytelling workshop along with Emery Craig.
Yep.
And I co-founded Digital Bodies now about 7 years ago. We've been working together, exploring XR in education for the last many years, collaborative and on our own. And we've been just really passionate to bring these technologies to education. And Emery, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm co-founder and CEO of Digital Bodies, a resource and consulting group on VR, AR, mixed reality. Both Maya and I have been doing this for a number of years, back in the early days before there even was an Oculus Rift, and we were lugging around suitcases full of Google Cardboards to sort of demo early 360 videos. And my background besides the academic world is I spent 8 years in the art world, so I have a very strong interest in visual culture. I was one of the founding staff members of the New Museum in New York City, worked in galleries in Soho on site-specific installation art. So I was kind of doing immersive experiences before anyone was even realizing there were immersive experiences, but we were trying to do it non-digitally. And then of course along comes the digital world and immersive technology, and I come full circle back to where I began on this amazing journey.
Yeah. So it's great to see some of you today, some of the names that we recognize and we know, we've seen for years, and I know that you are equally passionate about this technology as well as new people. And I also lead the X Reality Center at the New School as the Director of Education Futures, where we are focused on immersive storytelling, design, and narratives, and in just fully exploration of what's to come in the metaverse. Okay, so we thought, because this has been a diverse group of campers this week, we're gonna just do a one-slide catch-all on what this is about. Just in case you're new to this or your organization is just getting started recently. Okay, Emery, take it away.
Sure, and I'm just going to run through a couple of slides here on this, and then I'm going to turn it over to Maya because she's kind of walk us through the whole, let's call it the Arts and Crafts AR project here. So I'll just be very quick. But I think everybody knows here, but just in case anyone doesn't, virtual reality, it's a completely digital environment. You're entirely immersed in it. You don't really have any contact with the outside world. Augmented reality is almost its polar opposite, in that you're looking at the real world and there's just a digital overlay on that. Think like heads-up screens like in cars and fighter planes and like that. Pokemon Go is sort of basic augmented reality. Mixed reality is where the real and the virtual are intertwined with each other, so that you have digital objects but they're situated in the real world and you can interact with them, and they are in relationship with the real world so that they can be occluded by real objects. So digital object, for example, can hide behind a real object. And 360 video, I just leave aside because that's a lot of debate about whether that's VR or not. It sort of is, but sort of isn't. But again, it's a total immersive experience in terms of whatever it is. Okay, on to the next slide. Maya? Okay, so in terms of AR glasses, they're coming. They're going to be here very soon. I would say 1 to 2 years. A number of companies have massive projects underway. There may be a slight delay due to what's going on right now with the global pandemic, but Apple, Google, Facebook, Samsung, Lenovo, probably Microsoft. The list goes on and on. And of course, all eyes are on Apple and what they would do with this, because given what they did with the smartphone early on. The real challenge here with AR glasses right now is that battery life hasn't kept up with processor technology. So batteries are still heavy. We're not going to wear something heavy on our face, which means that you're either tethering it to your phone or you're using the Magic Leap approach of having some kind of hockey puck-like device clipped to your belt or something like that. Be interesting to see how Apple does this, especially Apple, because they take such a minimalist approach, but we can expect the glasses within 1 to 2 years. Okay, next. In terms of mixed reality, there's two major devices out there right now. The Magic Leap 1, the other, of course, is Microsoft's second version of the HoloLens. Both companies right now are really focusing on enterprise, not on the academic community. I know that they both actually started out thinking they'd be working with the academic community. That really hasn't happened that way. Microsoft is all in on enterprise and even military contracts. Magic Leap 1, which is having a lot of financial problems right now, seems to have turned toward enterprise also. We really have to see, though, that these will come back, and not that far into the future, with a focus on the workplace and on the academic community and on schools. We know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. And of course, these devices are going to get smaller. Okay, next slide. In terms of apps, I'm just going to mention two very quickly. One is the BBC Civilizations app, which is just really, it's an excellent example of conveying historical artifacts and stories. It was done through their research and development unit, and it features over 30 historical objects from museums across the UK that have been digitally scanned and now are available in a virtual exposition. You can pull those up in your living room. It's really the definition on it, the visual definition is really high quality, so that they're actually really good as teaching resources. But you have to think about this, that in the future, of course, again, you do this 1 to 2 years out, and then we're not going to have to hold up a phone to do this. We'll simply be able to look at it through our glasses, and it's going to be it'll be a huge breakthrough once that happens. Okay, next slide. The other app I want to mention, which is, if you haven't checked this out, I really encourage you to do so. Nancy Baker Cahill is an incredibly creative Los Angeles-based artist. She's been working with AR for a number of years now. You can download her Fourth Wall app for both the iPhone and Android devices. She's done a number of site-specific works on critical social issues, basically creating a public art platform that explores resistance and inclusive creative expression. What this allows her to do is actually to situate public art pieces out in the public without having to go through the gallery in museum organizational structure to do this. Her most recent work, which just came out July 4th, and it's going to be up for a year, and it's mostly on the East Coast, but I think there's a couple other places around the country. It's based on Philadelphia's Liberty Bell, of course, that quintessential American symbol of independence, and it's a 3D animation of an enormous abstraction of the Liberty Bell that's shaped like a swaying bell, and she situates it at historical sites such as the Mall in Washington, D.C., and the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Alabama, which was the site of Bloody Sunday's civil rights conflict in 1965. So definitely check her work out. Until recently, she actually had an AR studio tour that you could do. You could walk into a portal, a digital portal, and be inside her studio. That's not in the app now, but probably will be coming back. So definitely take a look at that. Okay, and with this slide, I'm going to transition over to Maya. Maya and I, besides our work in higher education, have also done some work in K-12, and is just absolutely fascinating seeing what kids do with these devices. These, of course, are our future college students, and this is just a Kickstarter, very basic Kickstarter mixed reality device, and the kids get hold of this, and for them, this is the beginning of the future. Their baseline technology is the smartphone. And so they just can't wait for this to happen. And every time they get their hands on this stuff, they just immediately go, how can I tell stories with this? How can I be creative and do something incredibly new that's not what the adults are doing? So that is our future, and they're going to be in our institution soon enough, hopefully back on site and not remotely like they are, our students are today most likely. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Maya, and I'll assist through the rest of the presentation. Okay, Maya.
Yes, thank you, Emery. And it's sort of the looks like that make us keep going and exploring and sharing with teachers and students across the country. When students get so engaged and are just having, just so many questions about how does this work? How can I make it? How can I create things? Why do I still have the old textbooks if I can do this? It's just fascinating to see, especially this age between 10 and 12. They are so interested in just getting started to make. It's amazing work, but today this is meant for us to create stuff. And so a big portion, the next part of this workshop will be really focused on creating together. And to do that, we are going to use the Blipper app. Why using Blipper? Well, first of all, we're using Blipper because it actually works on both iOS and Android. There are still quite a few apps that are only iOS or iPad sort of developed for these devices. Of course, we're waiting, to see more sort of cross-platform devices and applications, because as we know, our students come on a variety of different devices to the classroom. So we choose this particularly because it's very easy, and because also it has a web interface where it will allow you to see how that works today. There are a couple of other similarly to Blipper apps, in some educational and organizational settings. Libraries or museums also use Zapper. I'm not sure why the double P repeats in those apps, but it does. And obviously earlier this week, there was also a workshop on the Adobe Aero, which is at the moment just an iOS app, and it's basically only on the mobile device. But it's fun to do because it's very easy to get started and do something a little bit more tricky when you have to build, create, and start your own library of assets. But we are all waiting for what now is being believed to be a closed beta for the web interface, which possibly would allow people to develop also within the Adobe platform of applications. So, so today we'll need a couple of supplies for this workshop. And as I do the overview, I just put in the chat the links to the apps, which you can download on your mobile, the Android and the iOS app. So as I talked, make sure to, basically get those apps on your devices. In addition to that, keep sending your questions, and Emery will also man the chat. So even if it's questions beyond the Blipper, but I see a question regarding the prescription lenses, which actually magically does sell their device, where you can actually pick your correction lens, so you can use it this way since the device fits pretty close. And speaking about Magic Leap, why don't I just show it to you? So this is the Magic Leap. So as I mentioned, the Microsoft HoloLens is a similar device, and the lenses fit in the back. And as you can see, these devices, when we talk mixed reality, they're see-through devices. Just so you have an idea of how this works. All right, so get those apps to download and keep the questions coming in the chat. So essentially how this works with Blipper, and once you have the app, is the app itself is starting to evolve. It has WebAR, it has advanced coding, but also what it has is a very simple application called Blip Builder, which we'll use today, where just about anybody can enter and code a few kind of simple experiences, like the card we're about to do today. So the way it works is you download Blipper, you launch Blipper from your application, and then aim and frame, and you see a little sort of touch circle touch button at the bottom, and this is usually when you need to press that to play an experience. And I'm going to also demonstrate a couple. So, right, so it's very simple. What we're doing today is also linking to your idea, which we're moving away slightly, but it works in our case, which is using a marker. And a marker can be any image, right? So if you go to a gallery or to a museum, usually if you are actually able to, you scan that image, the experience will pop up. And so this is also reference to marker AR. Of course, there are lots of new applications, including the advanced features of Blipper, which allow you to do markerless AR, meaning that you can just drop things in your living room or in your classroom or somewhere, and you can kind of see those 3D objects come to play. All right. So this has been interesting. It certainly has had its run and play in the marketing, as well as textbooks. There's a variety of, you can, application where you can scan a product, in this case, the cereal, and, situate yourself having your morning cereal in a tropical island. So complementing your experience of tasting the cereal. But also, some of you may have seen, in particularly, sciences or bio, a number of different applications similarly to this one where, it comes with an adjacent app where you can scan an application and, for example, see, the blood flowing through the veins, or see some simple mechanics, sort of visualization. So it's certainly this type of technology where students can scan a particular image within a text or on the web, where they can play this. So I'm going to play a very quick video to actually put this together for you of how one experienced that. And also this particular campaign, as Blipper says, is no longer available, but let's see it. So this was a campaign that was run again about a year ago, where you can enjoy your Coke with Spotify, and then each, there was a number of different tracks that you can scan and kind of track of the day, as again, this, brings some delight, I guess, to your experience. At this point, I just want to, if you can give me a sign through the chat, through your images, thumbs up, thumbs down. Have you been able to download the app from the links I shared, if you plan to use it? Okay, I see some. Okay, good. I see, got the app. Good, that's exactly what I want to know. Okay, excellent. So this is this is basically sort of download, aim, frame, watch. And we're going to do a couple of those. So guess what? They also work from your web window. So if you have already the app, you can start the Blipper app. And what you see, if you actually hover it around you, or if you have a book or a magazine, you'll see that it will start recognizing things around you, right? So it's already has some machine learning embedded in it. That's what it does. Or you can try this later today if you actually open up a magazine or a newspaper or anything that has some images, and particularly people that appear in media or TV or sort of any popular culture. The app will continue to immediately start recognizing, as well as just everyday objects around the house. And that is to say where this is going, right, when you think about it. So if you aim, and you see, if you open your, and your app, you can just aim at the doctor, just the cover of the magazine, and then push the tab to scan. And as you see how this sort of the circle on the button will slowly start to fill in, meaning, you know, your content is downloading, your experience, and then in a moment you should see it. Okay, it should be working, but every so often they surprise me. They take up and down campaigns. I usually show this magazine cover for my students, and we just finished the spring semester where all of them work. But every so often, as I say, Blipper kind of updates things and gives me a surprise to see a very much like a stop shop animation. All right, let me see. If we do you see the circle turning into orange as you scan the image? And again, just the image, sort of try to just aim at the image. All right. Well, they did release a number of things this week, earlier this week. So I'm wondering what, like Tuesday of this week. And I'm wondering whether we are just coming right after this release and some content was changed. Because they just worked in just last week. But we'll do our own. Guess what? We'll do our own. I really wanted us to get a play with this, but and so you can see a little bit, but we'll create our own. And I did create one this morning, and it worked. So just stay in. We'll get it. We'll get this working, and we'll get it going. So I'm going to play a very simple video. It's a couple of minutes video to just give you a bigger, sort of just a kind of the 1,000 view. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start and basically share my screen with the sort of the Blip Builder app, so you can see as I'm building this experience, and you can do alongside as well. So so bear with me. Just a short. This is kind of like tying it together, and basically we'll then go step by step.
Hello and welcome to this Blip Builder demonstration video on the Blip Builder tool. Today we'll be giving an overview of different functionality. So if we start as if we're going to create a new blip, tap on Blip Builder Create, select the name of your blip, and then choose a marker.
So again, we are going to use the Blip Builder versus the more coding, the more advanced coding. But organizations and some of our students do go and leverage that function as well, where things get a lot more interesting, of course.
And click Next. That marker will upload and the tool will open up. So to start with, you can see the marker behind and a grid on screen, allowing you to line up assets easily against each other. But if we start in the top left-hand corner on the name of the blip, you see Marker Manager. This allows you to either remove or add new markers to an existing blip. Going into the settings allows you again to change the name and add different features, such as blipping to a URL, adding a background audio or background video. You can also access our advanced settings on this screen. The advanced settings is where you'll find features such as sharing the screenshot, being able to add the blip to your favorites, share the blip as a link, peel away, the orientation and the scale. You can also find our experimental code editor, which allows you to edit in JavaScript inside the Blip Builder tool. If we head back into the Blip Builder tool, in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see Redo and Undo. In the bottom right-hand corner, you're going to see the ability to zoom in and out of the blip. In the same screen, you can change to 3D mode, so you can view the assets in 3D and rotate about as I'm doing on screen now, or sit in 2D if you want to create the blip in a flat mode. You can toggle the transparency of both the marker and the grid using the F1 and F2 keys. If we look on the left-hand side and click on Basic Shapes, these are pre-made basic 3D shapes that you can add different textures to and use inside your blips. Put some examples on screen at the moment. Text just beneath it, where you can type whatever text you want to. You can add an action to it, so it can go play audio or a video, for example, or go to a website link. And you can also change the font and the color. If we move across the widget screen, this is where you'll find all our drag and drop widgets. So like I've just demonstrated on the screen, you can drag the widget in or double tap to place the asset in the screen. And then you're free to move it out whether you want. In the Uploads panel, You have the option either to click on upload and choose a file that way, or again, drag and drop the file from your computer into the uploads panel. Along the bottom edge, you're going to see our animation timeline. So when we add assets, we can add animation and movements to them, which you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. And then we have scenes in the bottom left-hand corner. This allows you to add multiple different parts of the blip. So for example, in scene 1, we might want a video, whereas in scene 2 might show us a 3D model. Great, and you can see the differences. In this case, I just use Facebook in one scene and a PDF viewer in the second. Now the final part of the tool to show you is the top right-hand corner where we have both preview and publish. So,
all right, so as I mentioned, this was just a very high level because we will all go and log in, and you can follow me along, you can follow on the screen, but you can go to web.blipper.com and create a login. If you do have a EDU account, I will encourage you. It has been actually free for some time because of the COVID pandemic, but the educational account has been actually consistently available for students and educators to create and preview. And so you can run sort of within the school, within the organization, your just in-house not-for-profit campaign completely for free. And this is one of the reasons that some schools have, and in some other settings, people have adopted this this app. And you know, if you do run official campaigns and some kind of marketing or outreach, obviously they will ask you to, you know, log in with a with this premium account. So go ahead. It does list a couple of questions for you, so you can create and log in. And then I'm going to go to my screen and log in, and we'll get it started from there. Yeah. Okay. So as you do that, I also am going to share a couple of other resources in the chat because it's a postcard for camp, and guess what? We're going to use actually some of the assets that you know, been shared with us this week, including those fun Zoom backgrounds. So I'm going to just drop this there in a moment, that link. So go ahead and create your Blipper account. So I saw there also a message about how, do you have to sync web and phone? No, it's actually the way it works is that you create on the web and then you use your phone to just see and scan and you know, share basically your AR applications. Okay, so under this page, under the sort of our goodies that we got this week from Learning Man supplies, you'll see basically a folder that where you can download backgrounds. And so there's a number of backgrounds that are available. So we actually are going to use these backgrounds as our markers, right? This is the card that we're going to scan and basically use some of those images. Now, if you're working along and you're going to use one of those images, you should put it in the chat. For example, I'll be using the one on Shaping EDU with digital learning. And the reason being is that, and at this point, I'm actually going to stop sharing this and share my other applications so we're all on the same page. So, so you should mention which background image you may be sharing, and I'm going to explain what I mean in a moment. So if you haven't been earlier this week under this folder, if you haven't done your background yet, you can see that you actually Shaping It, you shared with us a number of different backgrounds to be used, backgrounds with phrases and backgrounds with rows. And I today am going to use the one that is on the Shaping EDU. It's this one, background shaping So because you're going to be working, and this is a primarily marker, you should have different markers today. So if you choose to go around and you want to use one of those, please put it in the chat so nobody else is using on the same image, because you know, you have your voice, basically you'll be your AR will be popping on somebody else's card and vice versa. So so basically, yes, I'm going to use this particular card right here, Shaping EDU and the digital learning. And so you should download that card and one of those cards, and that will be our marker. By the way, you can have multiple markers. So for example, we have students who have, you know, sort of various gallery exhibitions, or want to have cards for various fairs. And so you can use a number of different cards to pop up the same augmented image. And you'll see that shortly. All right. So yeah, as I mentioned, if you do choose to work alongside with me, do make sure to basically pick a different image, and let us know which image you picked. So when you log in, you basically will come that once you log in, sort of your next screen, you will see this. These are various campaigns, various kind of images, as I will use it in a number of different settings to showcase, like especially for very quick AR applications as a sort of introduction to this field. And you see create web AR and create app AR. And so today we're going to use our mobile phone, so we'll go to create app AR. And then the next screen you see start from scratch, use scripting, and this is where I manage, you know, sort of I shared with you, we're gonna go to start from scratch. This is where it will ask you, you can upload as many images as you like. So you can browse and choose multiple images. So I'm going to browse here. And I did have a Learning Man folder, but I see it just right now here. So open, and you see that image pop in. You also can here title your project, right? So I'm gonna say Learning Man, Human, actually, postcard. And I can preview. If I had multiple, you would have seen them too. So then I'll continue to that, and it will take me to the next screen. All right, so we're going inside the Flipper application. Okay, be here in a moment. And it's here, what you see in the main place, you see, you know, basically your marker slightly kind of in the background. This is where we kind of talked about stage, or any way you want to call this. And you see there are a number of different, not a lot of menu, not very busy, luckily, but there's still a number of different applications and things you can do. So for example, you can see this little cube here in the middle, and sort of on the left can allow me to actually rotate and see this stage. And you'll see in a moment why this is important and how this helps me. And then where like a majority of our work will happen will be elements. So these are basic shapes that you can bring in and use your particular texture to wrap around them. So you can customize them. You can also bring additional 3D objects to Blipper from other 3D libraries. Then a lot of the fun happens on the widget. And why is so quickly to introduce something like that, and sort of as a foundational concept of how AR works, is because Blipper has very nicely made available all these social widgets for us to use. You can, once you you can bring an audio, a video, you can actually go to the popular, you know, sort of social media site. Then you can bring a particular, like a small, you can record and bring a small video, or even actually, you know, push people to go to a website or take a selfie. So this makes it very simple. And then the last one, it's uploads, where we bring our own images and 3D objects. Now, then as we work, I'm going to go on what happens with the menu on the left side. And at the bottom, we'll go to the animation part. We'll just use a couple of different images here to get there. So I'm going to, for example, bring the sphere, right? So I'm going to have the sphere right here. And as soon as I bring it in, you see that I can make sure that this sphere is on top of the car, right? So that it actually pops. Every so often my students come to me and said, I can't see it, there's nothing's happening. And what really is happening is that they actually put the augmentation behind the car. So it happens to all of us. So now that I have this image, I can actually put my own texture. Well, this kind of looks like the globe, like Earth. So why not make it look like an Earth, right? So I just, brought, I had sort of the map of the Earth, but you can have any texture that, that you can bring to any of those objects to customize it. And here we are right here. But if it's going to be an Earth, we should make it rotate, right? So you see immediately that on the timeline, it knows that there is a sphere there. And you see very similar, like a video editing timeline. And yes, I wanted to rotate. I will say, I'm not sure that this is going to rotate in an authentic and scientific way, but it is here. Not only that, but I may want to do something else with this. I can make it, go for 7 seconds. This is in seconds or longer. But it's camp, and I'm having lots of fun. And I really want to share that, right? I want to make sure everybody knows this is fun. And so I can put a heart. As you see, immediately my heart is on the timeline. Wow, but I also want to make this card move. Like, I want it more engaging. So not only can I make it move, but with this playhead, I can move it in a particular way. So I can give it a trajectory, right? So as I'm moving it, you can see these, the playhead, sort of these little dots that appear. Well, that is creating how this, heart is going to move around my image. And, I'm doing this more or less for demonstration. So we kind of are just moving across the card, but, there are quite interesting ways you can get this to go for you. All right, so that is good. But I also want this heart to be red, right? This is camp. In the world of emoji, we can't just have like a heart without it. Again, I'll make sure that pops, and we are right here. All right, so that is great. I have my heart right here. I'm gonna go to those widgets. As you can see, there's some very popular ones, but what I wanna do is, how about this song? Everybody's like really having fun, right? So I can drag the audio widget, it's right here, and I can actually bring an audio file to it. So Learning Human, I did test this morning. But it will, it's an upload file. So now we have the, we have also our song here. It's going to play once we get the, and we don't just want to say play audio, so we can just say play, or we can just say play camp song. Right, so these are, things you can manage. You can also customize it. If you say want it to be the colors, if this is, a particular, your school has a particular colors, or your organization, you can do that. Again, always, I've learned that from just working with students, make sure everything is on top, right? But what is this? If it's an AR, why should it be just about a single image? Right, and what I can do here is do something else. I can bring a gallery, or I can also go to multiple scenes. So for the sake of time, I'm going to do gallery. What's a gallery? Well, a gallery actually allows you to bring on top of your image multiple images. So, and you can also move, resize. So again, browse to add as many as 15, but I'm just going to have this song from last night, and then maybe another one. Browse files to upload. It's very simple. It will just open your library. I did had a warning human images right here prepared. So quickly make sure what we want to get. And I said, please keep those questions coming. I'm going to stop for a moment, and we'll be able to take some questions to do that. So what else we have? How about left? The chef.
Take the chef.
We have to take the chef. All right, so we have now, we should have 2 images in a moment. Browse in. So yeah, here it is. And as you can see, you can come with more. So at this point, you get probably the gist. You can mix and match. Of course, we're kind of like overloading this, but that's what CAM is about. You go for a week and you get a lot of different experiences. So what happens next? So you go to preview, and now this time it should work. And I'll give a few more instructions. When you go to preview, it's going to work this to create your preview. And instead of this number, you can actually put a number that works for you. So I would say all lowercase, shaping edu, and I'm going to tell you where to put that number in a moment in your apps. So keep in mind that is, what we'll do there is shaping edu. I will say publish to test. And this is what I meant, that you can always publish to test, and that will work for a variety of devices and everybody, but it's not published. The reason we're not publishing today, or you may not want to publish immediately, is that publishing is reserved for these premium experiences. They do have a code. So it goes to preview through Blipper, and then it gets released, and sometimes it takes a moment. It may take a business day or more. This company is also based in London, in the UK, although they've had offices at different times in different parts of the country as well in the US, but that's just what happens. Now, I want you to open your Blipper app, the ones that we tried, and then on the left side, you see like a wheel. Touch that wheel, and you see if a screen will pop once that gear, sort of touch the gear, and you see enter test code. And then you can do, at that point, you put shaping edu. That's our test code today. This could be just your college or school or organization title, or you could make it very simple, or just make, again, for publish to test, you need a code, but it can be shared wildly for premier campaigns. They will just work, but they'll need to be previewed by Blipper and then make available public. So once you put shaping edu, you can just close that. And at that point, with the little, so there's a little X at the bottom, just close that. And then at that point now, you can actually aim at our image and tap to scan. And hold your breath, because I did it this morning and everything popped. Now we did load it a little bit, and that's something to think. You see, and you see now your heart will be moving, your around the earth will be rotating, and then where you see play camp song, touch that. You can make it to play immediately, but we did leave it to on touch, and so if you touch that, it should also play the song. And in my case here, it just kicked. And it's old friends, long time no see, Zoom, Slack. And then you can also tap on the screen and move from, our music guest last night to our chef. And of course, you could have multiple other images. So at that point, you'll see that there is a share button at the bottom. And of course, you can share this by email or by text or in a number of different ways. So I want to see the chat since I'm working here a little bit with my screen. How are you all doing? And you can unmute yourself and let me know, did it work? Did it play for you? I see it working. Yes,
Great.
that's what we want to do.
It's good to see.
Yeah, this is, of course, very, very simple augmentation.
And very quick.
So very quick. So make sure that you put in the gear. You need make sure that you put shaping edu, just as you see test code. That needs to be populated in your app. That is actually what reads our augmentation today. So okay, somebody was following us, so I'm glad you're working. Every so often when you do something for the first time, sometimes the mouse, sometimes your keyboard doesn't behave the exact way. I've experienced that for many years working on a variety of applications, but go back to it today and try it again. It will start appearing. So I know we are almost like on time with a few additional moments. So unmute yourself, and I again aim at this image. At any point later today, you can actually aim at this image. I'm going to leave as long as when you open the Blipper app, you see the gear, and as I mentioned on that screen, you enter the test code being shaping edu. That will allow you to read. So one of the reasons it may not read it for you today is that. I can put it on my phone, but I would rather actually hear from you right now. So I'm going to stop sharing and just open it up for any questions. And I saw Emery was writing in answering some questions, but any additional question, again, this was a fun activity. There's lots of different AR applications out in the world, but we thought that, hey, why not send an AR card from
AR card. And if you get a good one done, post it on Slack, get it out there into the world so other people can see it.
Yes. So any questions, comments, what it's about this particular application. As I said, this is a very simple way to illustrate AR and also have people have their hands on it. We do a lot in this sadly COVID world where it's a lot on, play something on the screen. I like when actually students are able to do this, right? Do it and share the image and their friends can actually scan that image and immediately see something. So I'm not sure we're the co-host. So Sabrina, can you make sure that people can unmute themselves?
Yes, I just activated that. They should be able to unmute themselves.
Okay. Yes. So please go ahead and let us know if you have any question, any observation, want to share. As I mentioned, there are different ways to do this. This is one simple one that has been around for some time and has worked for me.
And does work on both Android and iPhones. So.
I have a question. Can you use this with your glasses, your smart glasses?
So this is a web application at this time and a mobile application. So it is linked to a mobile. You can use it on an iPad and you can have much more elaborate. So you can actually code full feature games. For example, Star Wars has a game on Blipper for their release and others, but it is simply a web application. All these glasses at this moment, they work on their own ecosystem, sadly. So if something works on the Microsoft HoloLens, this is where it works. If something works on Magic Leap, this is where it works. And a separate app needs to be created for each of these devices. Of course, we as educators, we want to see much more. We want to see them cross platforms and using, and
Exactly.
this is a different effort.
Yeah, and I even think once the AR glasses come out, we're going to have a year or two of sort of separate ecosystems like we did with iOS devices and Android phones. And then, developers will push to have things be cross-platform and the public will push for it and it will happen. But the initial release of glasses is probably going to be a little frustrating for us because, as Maya said, you're going to be buying into but someone's specific ecosystem, not like the larger landscape.
Good morning from Atlanta. I have a question. My
Good
camera's
morning.
not coming on either, or afternoon. I don't know what it is.
Whatever.
I know. So I have a question. I'm in K-12. And so with elementary children and them wearing like the goggles or the Oculus, is there a concern we should have with how much time they're wearing the headsets and their vision or any of that stuff?
I don't think so. I mean, most of the manufacturers, when it comes to VR headsets, they're saying 13 and above. There's really no one's come out with any limits in terms of AR glasses right now. I do a lot of work with Lenovo and some other companies in the K-12 space, and people are using it across the board in K-6 and in upper grades. And I think that the general rule of thumb here is just you shouldn't be doing it too long, particularly in the younger grades. Obviously it's not good practice to do VR and put somebody in a headset for an hour anyways, even as an adult. So, but I think, most of the schools I've been at where where say students in 5th or 6th grade are using it, they're doing an experience for 5 or 10 minutes, something like that. Older grades, they might do an experience for 10 to 20 minutes. But so the jury is still out on the research right now, but I think in limited amounts for young students, it's okay.
So, Cynthia, thank you for your question. How do you use this in the college classroom? So in a number of different cases, students are asked to create illustrated thinking, and in particularly what we didn't do, there are multiple scenes, so you can actually build this. I've had students use this. Of course, I am in an arts and design school, in-person school at the New School in New York City. So for them, they actually can create their own images. They can create their own GIFs, then bring audio. Some of my students have done, for example, they use that and they went and used the markers as certain sites and certain sort of graffiti almost sites and murals in the village, and then link that to Spotify songs of makers who actually played there. And it was fascinating. And this was the first time I introduced it, like about three and a half years ago. That project came up. It was with the students that bring those images, and then you can go to the corner of Westford and McDougal and see who played there. This is where Wawa Cafe is. So lots of people play there. But it's a very interesting way to click into urban art, design, culture, and making. We've seen that also as a way to, as I mentioned, for projects in particular, to augment posters, to augment any kind of artwork or any kind of presentation. There's students who like to use it in the content of their designs. And so they can see, you can layer the design from, starting at the beginning of the process to what it became. So obviously, gets them very fascinated. And they love they record their own snippets of video and the music and the social elements of that. And so it is, these are usually undergraduate students. And this is usually freshman students. So these are not students that are with lots of, they like to create, but as you saw, just about anybody can do that. And obviously this is an introduction application. We've seen some really interesting applications where, certainly, and I will actually put one of my students in the chat because I know we're running off on time. Like maybe I can just share it and you can see it on your set. So this is this particular video. One of my students, I'm going to play it silently, did with this particular app. So the music is fun, but just in it, so we can also talk and answer questions. I'm going to mute the music, but have enjoy it at your time, and it will definitely bring your mood up because it is salsa.
Yeah.
So students have so much fun with doing it. It can the part where this we've always done it in a classroom, and I had to do it from home this spring with both high school and early college sort of freshman students and others. And I was very kind of thinking, are we going to see projects? Because usually at the end of the 40-50 minutes, students will take 20 minutes and will immediately come up with projects. This one is in an old record store, and you can see there's various videos, there's music, there's lots of fun music here, and how students kind of put together all the digital works into the project. So yeah, we just as I was doing it remotely, we had students actually being able to build projects. That's what I like. Obviously, like with more advanced classes, we go to more advanced applications. Any other questions? I'm going to go back.
Yeah, I think we're about out of time. Yeah, that's actually, there are a couple good questions in chat.
You can actually look at our work at digitalbodies.net, where we share a number of different applications and uses. And we also, if you are in the curriculum space and this is where you want to go, you can reach me directly at maya@newschool.edu to just share examples with you. So if this app is very, very well received in the also museum space, in that social moments, and some as I said, to get people quickly able to create.
Maya, I have one quick question. It's Cynthia. Thank you so much for the demo. If we weren't able to get it working, but you can see the power of it, what would be the most efficient way to work out the bugs? Just work with your own tech people at your own.
I really feel like it should work, and I'm happy to even get on a call to make sure that there are a couple of things, which is aim. You have the app, you have the code in, and at that point, maybe just refresh it. Maybe I'll just, since you just downloaded, refresh it once. But I don't usually see that happen. The other things, like, did my animation appear the same way? So I would just ask you, try it, give it a go. It might be just something that, as you know, oftentimes refresh your app, restart your computer.
Restart.
May solve. My go-to is my 22-year-old daughter. I just have to put up with the eye roll, and
yeah, right. That's it's the in-house tech support for the younger generation, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is meant to be quick and fun today, and try again, and you should be on the same image, the one that is shaping at you in the digital age. That's the image I used as a marker today.
I was always teaching adult students, and their tech support was usually 12 and 13-year-olds. Like, they get in front of the computer and take care of everything. So,
so there are other sessions, and I can see people heading out, and I don't want to hold you from getting back to more fun at the camp. So thank you so much for showing up today. I know it's the end of the week, so but I'm glad that you're still curious, and I'm glad that we get to share the hour together. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.